My security system let someone into an empty apartment. At 2:11 in the morning, my building's security system recorded a resident entering apartment 5B. That would have been ordinary, except apartment 5B did not have a front door. It had not had one for 6 years. There had been a kitchen fire in that section of the building long before I started working there. The interior had been stripped to concrete and pipework, then sealed behind a maintenance wall while the owners argued about renovation permits. No tenant. No furniture. No working utilities. Just a dead space above the 5th floor stairwell. I watched the camera feed 3 times. The lobby door never opened. No one crossed the threshold. But the access log said, 2:11 a.m. Kell. Resident access granted. Unit 5B. I should have called the building owner. Instead, I tried to fix it myself. That was the first mistake. My name is Marcus Vale. I was 36 then, working as a facilities contractor for Ashdown Court, an old apartment building in Chicago with 42 units, too many stairwells, and a security system that had been installed in phases over 20 years. I knew the building better than most of the people who lived there. I knew which elevator shook near the 4th floor. I knew that the boiler room door only latched if you lifted it before turning the key. I knew which residents left their trash in the wrong bins and which ones called me before they called the police. I also knew that the owner was looking for an excuse to replace me. 3 months earlier, the previous manager had been fired after a package theft. Since then, every camera glitch, every broken keypad, every complaint about a door lock had landed on my desk. And at 8 o'clock that morning, a corporate inspector was coming to review the building's new access system. So when the name Kell appeared in the log, I convinced myself it was a database error. A leftover profile from the migration. Something harmless. I opened the admin panel and searched for the name. There was already a file. Kell. No first name. No phone number. No emergency contact. No payment history. The account had been created decades before the software even existed. Its access level was marked as resident. Its assigned unit was 5B. I should have deleted it. Instead, I built a temporary quarantine profile around it. I restricted the account to 1 unit, cut off elevator access, and set the system to alert me if that credential appeared anywhere else. It seemed reasonable. It seemed smart. At 2:19 my phone rang. It was my sister Leela. She lived in 4A while she was getting back on her feet after her divorce. I had helped her get the apartment at a reduced rate because the owner still owed me favors from before the management company took over. She always called me Mark, not Marcus. Even when she was scared. "Mark," she said, "someone is trying my door." I was already moving. "What do you mean?" "The keypad outside keeps beeping. It says access granted, but I didn't buzz anyone in." "Keep the deadbolt locked," I told her. "Don't open the door." I'm not going to. Then I heard it through the phone. 5 soft electronic chirps. The same sound every Ashdown Court lock made when a key fob was accepted. Leela went quiet. "Mark," she whispered, "the lock just turned." I ran from the lobby toward the stairs. The elevator doors were open when I reached them, though I hadn't called it. The display inside showed 5. Not the 5th floor. Just the number 5, repeated across the little digital screen. 5. 5. 5. I took the stairs. By the time I reached the 4th floor, another resident had called the emergency line. Mr. Ortiz from 2D. He was 72, lived alone, and always wore slippers indoors. He was standing in the lobby in a bathrobe, holding his dead key fob in one hand. "My apartment says vacant," he told me. I checked the console from my phone. His unit had been reassigned. 2D. Vacant. Primary resident. M. Kell. That was when I stopped thinking it was a normal software problem. I let Mr. Ortiz back into his apartment with a physical master key, then called the security vendor's emergency support line. After 6 minutes, a woman named Priya answered. She sounded tired but professional. I gave her the account number, the building name, and the strange profile. There was silence on her end. Then she said, "Marcus, did you create the M. Kell account tonight?" I created a quarantine profile. The name was already in the system. "I can see that. And it was never supposed to be active." My throat tightened. "What does that mean?" "It's a migration artifact," she said. "A legacy placeholder. The system pulled it from archived property records." "Fine. Delete it." "I can't." "Why not?" "Because it has administrator-level permissions." I stared at the stairwell wall. "That's impossible. I'm the only local admin." "No," Priya said. "You're the only active local admin." Then she read something from her screen. Kell has access to every unit in Ashdown Court." At that exact moment, every light in the stairwell went out. Not all at once. One floor at a time. 4th. 5th. 6th. Then the lobby below me. I was standing between the 4th and 5th floors in darkness, listening to the soft hum of electronic locks cycling somewhere in the building. Click. Pause. Click. Pause. Click. Each sound came from a different apartment door. I called Leela. She picked up immediately. "Mark, it's outside." "What is?" "I don't know." Her voice shook. "It's not knocking. It's just standing there." "Can you see it?" "No. The peephole is dark. Stay away from the door." Then the building intercom crackled above me. The old emergency speaker. The one nobody used unless there was a fire drill. A woman's voice came through. Com. Vlad. Mechanical. Resident access confirmed. It sounded almost human. Almost. But every word ended a fraction too late, like someone dragging their finger across a touchscreen after the sentence was over. Priya was still on my other line. Marcus, she said, you need to find the original building records. What? The system is trying to reconcile an occupancy conflict. I don't know what that means. It means it thinks there are two residents assigned to the same physical space. 5B isn't a physical space. I know, Priya said. Then she added, that may be the problem. The building's oldest records were kept in the basement storage room behind the boiler equipment. I hated going down there alone. Not because I believed in ghosts. Because the room had no clean layout. Decades of previous managers had stacked boxes in narrow paths between pipes and old filing cabinets. The air always smelled like wet cardboard and furnace dust. I grabbed my flashlight and went down. On the way, I passed the 5th-floor landing. The maintenance wall that covered the old 5B space stood at the end of the hallway. The painted drywall looked normal, except the keypad beside it was glowing blue. That keypad had been disconnected years earlier. Someone had written vacant across the small display. Then the word disappeared, and another word replaced it. Marcus Vale. I didn't stop. I went downstairs. The old property files were in a dented metal cabinet labeled lease records. 1950, 1985. I found the year the building had been renovated. Then the old floor plans. Then a folder full of inspection reports. Apartment 5B did not appear on any original blueprint. There was a storage void above the main stairwell. No windows. No plumbing. No legal exit. It had never been an apartment. But in 1963, a former management company had listed it as one. They used it to make the building look more occupied than it was. A fake unit. A fake tenant. The name M. Kell appeared on every page. There was a signature line beside it, but no signature. Only a faint pencil mark, pressed deep enough into the paper to leave a dent. M. Kell had never been a person. It had been a name invented for paperwork. A vacancy with a rent amount beside it. I called Priya back. I found the records, I told her. She was typing fast. I found something too, she said. The system is preparing its nightly synchronization. Went. 4 a.m. I looked at my watch. 3:42. What happens at 4? It pushes every active resident profile to the cloud archive. So M. Kell becomes permanent. I said nothing. Priya continued. The account has been using your credentials as a source profile. You created it from your admin console. The system thinks you verified its identity. The basement suddenly felt much smaller. What does it want? I don't know, she said. but it's trying to resolve every tenant conflict by moving them into one account. Kell. Yes. I thought of Mr. Ortiz locked out of his own home. I thought of Leela's door turning by itself. Then I noticed a new entry on the printed log beside me. 4A. Vacant. Primary resident. Kell. Leela's apartment. Marcus, Priya said, you have to stop the sink. How? The old controller should be inside the service chase, behind the 5th floor wall. There's probably a manual override panel. I laughed once. Not because it was funny. Because I could hear keys rattling above my head. Not footsteps. Keys. A whole ring of keys, dragging slowly across apartment doors. Click. Pause. Click. I ran upstairs. The lights on the 5th floor flickered as I reached the landing. Every unit number on that hallway had changed. 4A. 4B. 5A. 5B. 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 The numbers kept updating, as if the building was trying to rename itself. From Leela's phone, I could hear her breathing. Mark, she said, someone is talking through the intercom. What are they saying? They're calling you. The speaker above me crackled. Marcus. It was Leela's voice. But Leela never called me Marcus. Come upstairs, the speaker said. I'm already upstairs. A pause. Then the voice said, no. You're moving in. The wall at the end of the hall shuddered. Not violently. Just once. Like someone on the other side had leaned against it. I found the old maintenance key on my ring and opened the metal panel beside the sealed wall. Behind it was a narrow service passage full of conduit and insulation. At the far end sat an old gray control box, half covered in dust. And taped to the top of it was a page from the original lease ledger. Kell. Unit 5B. Primary occupant. Underneath, in fresh black letters, was my name. Marcus Vale. The printer ink was still wet. The keys outside stopped rattling. For 1 second, the whole building was silent. Then Leela screamed through my phone. Her apartment door had opened. I almost ran for the stairs. I almost left the control box. That was what it wanted. The system display on the box lit up. A single message appeared. Confirm emergency access override. If I pressed it, every electronic lock in the building would reset. Leela's door would lock again. But so would every other residence. And Kell would become the only authorized profile. Priya had warned me about the fire system earlier. The building had an old manual release tied into the magnetic locks. It was designed for emergencies. Pulling it would unlock every controlled door and cut access logging until the system rebooted. No logging. No credentials. No resident profile. No Kell. I reached for the red handle. The voice on the intercom changed. This time it sounded like my mother. She had been dead for 9 years. Marcus, it said softly, don't make everyone leave. My hand froze. Then I remembered something stupid and small. My mother never called me Marcus either. Only Mark. I pulled the handle. The fire alarm erupted through the building. Doors clicked open all at once. Not one after another. All of them. Every apartment. Every stairwell. Every service room. The control box went dark. The name on the ledger page began to smear. Not like ink getting wet. Like someone had rubbed it from underneath the paper. The hallway lights flared white. For a second, I saw something at the end of the service passage. Not a woman. Not exactly. Just a shape where the darkness seemed to be standing too neatly. A narrow outline made from empty space. It reached toward the ledger. I grabbed the page first. Then I tore it in half. The alarm continued. Residents poured into the stairwells, confused and angry, asking what was happening. I heard Mr. Ortiz shouting somewhere below. I heard Priya's voice through my phone telling me to keep moving. I shoved the torn paper into the metal control box and slammed it shut. Then I ran to the 4th floor. Leela was standing in her open doorway with a baseball bat in both hands. She looked at me, then at the empty hallway behind me. Was someone there? She asked. I looked toward the stairwell. All the apartment displays had returned to normal. 4A, 4B, 4C. No 5B. No, I told her. That was not true. But it was the closest answer I had. The building owner fired me 2 days later. The inspector came anyway. The fire alarm incident exposed the old illegal wiring, the sealed service chase, and several things the company had ignored for years. They blamed me for the system failure. Maybe they were right. I had created the temporary profile. I had tried to fix the problem quietly. I had given that empty name somewhere to live. Leela moved out of Ashdown Court a month later. Mr. Ortiz moved in with his daughter. Priya sent me a final message, saying the security vendor had erased every trace of M. Kell from the active database. No account. No key fob. No unit assignment. No administrator permissions. I wanted to believe that was the end of it. Last week, I received a copy of Ashdown Court's new occupancy certificate. 42 legal apartments. No 5B. No M. Kell. At the bottom of the document was a section for emergency contacts. There was only one name listed. Mine. And beside it, in a different font, was a relationship I never chose. Primary resident.